Alright guys, welcome to another video. This time I want to go in depth and explain how I'm able to create the Chompy, which is an OC character, an original character for Krea 2. I want to show you how to do it in AI Toolkit with the technique that works for me. So once you boot up AI Toolkit, I'll leave some instructions below how to install it. You could do the quick installer. But once you get it up and running, you should be here. Now, what you do is you're going to type in the name of just give it a name, whatever your LoRA is called. Here I put Chompy _ Krea 2. The trigger word is Chompy, but I'm using the number 0 instead of the letter O because any model is going to actually think that Chompy is associated with eating or something else. So you don't want to confuse the model with a regular word. So I always just substitute numbers instead of letters. Okay, that's just a safe practice. So you're going to select for the model architecture Krea 2 raw. You're not going to want to select turbo. So you come down to Krea 2 raw. The Krea 2 raw LoRa's work in Krea 2 raw and turbo. So hence the raw model, it's the base model. It's much better to use the base model when you're creating LoRa's. Okay. Now keep it at float 8. You're going to want to fiddle around if you have less VRAM. Here we have a RTX 4090. So float 8 is fine. You still want to use low VRAM. Even if I'm running this on an RTX 6000, I would still keep it on low VRAM. It doesn't affect anything. It just makes sure that there's no hiccups going on. You never want any kind of VRAM overflow. I think once in the past, I saw like a 17 billion gigabyte VRAM overflow. That's not something you want to have happen. So just keep it on low VRAM. Layer offloading is if you have less VRAM than 24. People on Reddit have said they've got it to work on 16 gigabytes of VRAM on an RTX 5070 Ti. I suppose an RTX 5060 Ti would work too. There have been numerous posts about that. One guy said he got it to work on his RTX 3060 Ti, which is 12 gigabytes of VRAM. As you'll see in the training, this model is quite hungry, and it's going to use the full 24 gigabytes of VRAM. You should have a minimum of 32 gigabytes of system RAM, or DRAM as it's called. From what I've seen here, 64 gigabytes is the sweet spot. 128 gigabytes if you have it. I know now we're living in a RAM apocalypse, the SSD apocalypse, the soon to be the CPU apocalypse. GPU prices are not fair. So buy up DDR4 RAM while you still can. All my systems are running DDR4 RAM. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. DDR5 and DDR4, I haven't seen really much of a difference. I still prefer DDR4. It's fast enough for everything you need to do. You're going to keep the type at BF16. We're going to save every 250 steps, and we're going to have a max save of 8. So that means I'm going to keep the last 8. When it comes to batch size, keep this at 1. Keep everything here. I've tried with AutoMagic 2. It's produced very good results for me. You can keep this. I like to just leave it at linear. We're going to cache the text embeddings. 3,000 steps is a sweet spot. I find that some people have said up to 6,000 steps, right? I think that's stupid. 3,000 would be the highest ceiling. Some character LoRAs already start to get the likeness after 500 steps. From what I usually see in the training data, the LoRA is pretty well baked at around 2,000 steps. Everything afterwards, you can just keep looking at it, just testing you want to test out the models in ComfyUI to see which one, did it the best. Honestly, you don't need more than 3,000 steps, okay? So here, the data set is the Chompy Krea 2 data set. I'll show you what the data set looks like. Here we're going to cache the latents. We're also using 512, 768, and 1024 for the resolution. You don't need to add more, okay? Just keep those unlocked. We're going to cache the latents. Okay, now we're going to go down to sampling. We're going to skip the first sample. There's no point. I don't want to see any sample images on the first sample because they're going to look horrible. The raw image, according to Krea 2, according to their actual data, you should use a guidance of 3 to 3.5 and 50 plus steps. So we're just going to keep that at 3.5 and 50 steps. We're going to sample every 250 times. And here I'm just using my LLM generated prompts from my data set. So chompy, a muscular, shark-headed humanoid with gray skin and sharp teeth, wearing a pink tank top and matching fingerless gloves, standing indoors in the living room with bookshelves and framed art on the walls. Okay, so usually I've never captioned for Krea 2. This time I'm going to go ahead and add the captions. See what happens by adding captions. I also have a couple other little tricks that I'm going to show you guys. Let's go ahead, create the job, and run it. Okay, at this point, I'm going to let it run for a bit. I'm going to obviously stop the video and come back. While that's running, let's just take a look at the data set. So people always want to know, how the hell do I create my data set? I create the first image. Usually it is a neutral pose like this one here. So she's an anthropomorphic shark. Here I created the first image. I liked it. From there on, you can use Fluxus Klein 9B because it's a great edit model. And then you're going to go and just do the rest of the images. It's going to take you a while because you're going to want to make sure that they stick with the character. You know, sometimes it didn't render the fin. You've got to delete those images. Create a variety of poses. And here's the little secret when you're creating character LoRAs. You actually want to include other people in about 10 to 15% of the images. And that's because if you don't include other humans, sometimes you'll get twinning or bleeding of the character LoRA on other characters. So you're teaching the model that, hey, this is the particular character, and although there's other people in it, you know, this is who you're training for. So, and here I put one to scale. So, you know, because she's a great white shark anthro, you know, great white sharks, the females are the biggest. So they can actually get up to, some of the biggest ones can get up to 11 meters. It can get up to 20 to 22 feet. Some of the pregnant females can be quite girthy as well. So, you know, she's about 3 meters tall as an anthro. Different scenes, taking off the boots. So this is her main uniform, but at the same time, Krea 2 is going to let you play around with the character a bit. This is the first time I'm using captioning for Krea 2. I've always used captioning for Anima, Z Image, Klein, obviously LTX 2.3. We're going to do some of those tutorials in the future, but I've always captioned. But with Krea 2, the first few LoRAs I didn't caption because it was so good. The model has the text encoder for Krea 2, which is the Qwen 3 8BVL, actually does a really good job of just auto captioning for you. So this is the first time I'm doing captioning. We're going to see how that turns out. You can see I use a fair amount of images and the consistency is there. I want to create a lot of interactions. This is supposed to be a violent, you know, super villain kind of character. So I want to make sure that there's a lot of violence in the images. Here she is with scale to the Incredible Hulk, fighting zombies. So keeping the consistency here, there's a couple of shots where she doesn't have the fin, but there's enough of her with the fin that the model knows she has a fin, especially most of the, I say over 80% of the photos, the fin is visible. Okay, she turned out really good in the past for Anima and Z Image Turbo. So let's go ahead and see how she turns out with Krea 2. Okay. If we go to the queue, so it's unloaded the text encoder. It's cached on the disk. We're going to go ahead and let that cook in the background, and it's also going to it's going to skip sampling the first one, and it's going to train. We're going to come back when it is near completion, and then we'll discuss a little bit more. I want to show you like what's going on with the sampling. This process on the 4090 is going to take around 3 hours. Basically, it's 1,000. For every 1,000 steps, it's going to take you an hour. If you have a faster GPU, like a RTX 5090 or RTX 6000, so the time is going to definitely come down. But in this kind of apocalypse economy, use what you can. You know, an RTX 3090 would probably be the sweet spot if you're like thinking about if you want to make LoRAs. The RTX 3090 would be a good choice. It's got 24 gigabytes of VRAM, and you could make LoRAs for you could make LoRAs with every model out there right now. The LTX 2.3, from the videos I've seen with Ostris, it took him for 5,000 steps. It took him like 10 hours with an RTX 6000 that he rented on RunPod. So it's going to take you probably a full day to do a LTX 2.3 LoRA. And you'd have to, you know, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get there. We're going to show you how to optimize your computer. Honestly, I probably will just use a RunPod for creating LTX 2.3 LoRAs, because 24 gigabytes of VRAM is probably not enough. So let's be realistic. 32 gigabytes of VRAM, it fits in, but I don't think it's going to be. I'm going to have to like leave the computer alone for like a day if I was using my RTX 4090. So that being said, let's go ahead, pause the video. We're going to come back when everything is kosher and clean and right near the end. Okay, guys? All right, guys, we're back to check on how the chompy LoRA is going. As you can see here, we're using about 40 gigabytes of DDR4 memory. The GPU is comfortably at 15 gigabytes out of 24. It peaked at 18 gigabytes, so it's totally doable on a 16 gigabyte card. Let's go ahead and take a look at the samples. Starting at the beginning, remember we skipped the first 250, so already at step 500, it has a very good likeness. It didn't always get the gloves, you can see here at the top. That's normal, that's only 500 steps. At 1,000 steps, it's getting much better with the likeness overall. And then at 750, let's skip, let's go down to 1,250 steps. So there, the likeness is really good. Skin textures, large chest, the leather fingerless gloves, everything's there, it's consistent. Good details. Okay, so overall pretty good. Let's go down to 2,000 steps. Much better. I would say that, you know, if you just did 2,000 steps, that would be good. Now remember, it looks much better in ComfyUI when you render it. So just to let you guys know that, you know, what you're seeing here, it's not optimized in ComfyUI. This is just like sampling it with the raw settings. It looks great, but it's going to look much better inside of ComfyUI. So it did a good job at 2,000 steps. Captured the likeness, good hands, good overall look to the character. I would go down to 2,500 steps. Again, it's perfect. It does a really good job. So overall, quite impressive. We're going to let it go and finish out at 3,000 steps. And then we're going to go to ComfyUI and show you some images. But let me talk to you about the captioning, because this is supposed to be an in-depth tutorial. So let's go and show you exactly how I caption these images and why. Okay, so when you go to the AI Toolkit, they have a Run Comfy site where they just tell you how to do all the how-tos, okay? This is where you're going to pick up the tips on how to run the model. If you go down to step 5, captions should identify what must not be absorbed. Caption quality is one of the highest leverage parts of Krea 2 LoRA training. Use 1 or 2 natural sentences, including the trigger phrase, the subject or style, and the visible details that should remain promptable. Describe variable in backgrounds, clothing, lighting, poses, and camera framing instead of leaving them implicit. For example, K2 Mara, a woman with short black hair and a small geometric tattoo on her left forearm, photographed outdoors at dusk, waist up portrait, soft side lighting. This tells the model that the dusk setting, portrait crop, and lighting are scene attributes rather than permanent parts of K2 Mara. For a style LoRA, use a natural phrase such as violet, retro, anime, print style, rather than an opaque token alone. Krea 2 handles descriptive trigger phrases well, and they remain readable at inference. Keep the caption dropout rate at equals 0.05. It provides the modest robustness. Okay. All the other stuff you can read about on their official site, but this is just talking to us about how we should caption things. What did I do next? What we did next inside of ComfyUI was load my Qwen 3.5 9B int 8 conv quantized text encoder. That's available on Hugging Face. The other day, I uploaded all 3 versions, 2B, 4B, and 9B. Okay, so I'm just loaded up all the dataset images. So you can see here, this is from my dataset. And this is what, I asked Claude, I said, hey, can you help me out based on this information here on AI Toolkit? How the hell are we going to, keep it to the Krea 2 settings? So Claude just came up with this prompt. And, I'll go ahead and share this in the workflow for you guys. You are captioning images for Krea 2 LoRA training dataset. Follow these rules exactly. Number 1, write 1 or 2 natural sentences per image. No bullet points, no keyword lists, no tags separated by commas alone. Write flowing descriptive prose. Always begin the caption with the trigger phrase. And as you know here, this is chompy with a 0 instead of the O. For a subject LoRA like this, name, token, etc., K2 Mara. For a style LoRA, this should be a natural descriptive phrase, for example, violet, blah, blah, blah. Immediately after the trigger phrase chompy, describe the subject or style itself in a short phrase. The fixed defining characteristics that should be absorbed into the concept. Okay, so we just had the LLM tell it what to do. And it went ahead after looking at that image and said chompy, a muscular anthropopic shark with gray skin and sharp teeth wearing a pink tank top and pink hand wraps. Performing a deadlift in the gym setting, full body shot from a low angle, bright overhead fluorescent lighting, barbell with weights on the floor. Okay? Simple. That tells everything we need to know. So that's how you train your data set. That's how you go ahead and do things in ComfyUI and in the AI Toolkit. Pretty simple stuff. As long as you have 16 gigabytes, optimally, if you have 24 gigabytes, you're golden. So I think the sweet spot would be an RTX 3090. Then you're never going to run into overhead problems. Try to have 64 gigabytes of RAM, of DRAM. Then you're never going to go over. I guess you could squeeze it into 32. 64 is optimal. 128. I know the prices now are garbage. I know, but 64 would be optimal. Use DDR4 because we know how expensive DDR5 is. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results.
lights turn on, I'm on. I'm missing everybody. Keep your 10 toes down if you love me. I don't understand yet you wanna take it from me. Pick it up, send it down, time get lucky. I'm oh God, what happened? I'm wrong, I lied. Keep your secret, tonight it's on. I'm missing everybody.